Well, good evening, pop pickers. How are you all? Brahma, my friend, good to see you again. How are you? Apart from your mic not working, how are you?
Course, the mic doesn't work. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It feels like it's
Good.
been quite a while since we've done this. I mean, it's only been 1 week off,
We
but
only
it
missed
feels
one,
like
yeah.
it's been a long time. There's
Yes.
I mean, the strange thing is, yes, we had the conference finals, but it didn't feel like anything really happened in hockey, even though we're going into the Stanley Cup Final starting tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there was Florida had that enormous break there, like I don't know, 10 days or something.
Yeah, and
Um,
they looked a bit huffing and puffing tonight, even though they had the
sluggish.
break. I think it may have worked against them a little bit.
Possibly. Well, I mean, I'm sure everyone's been paying attention, but the 5-2 was the final score tonight, I believe. And if I could get my damn
Yep.
screen to behave. No, I still can't get my damn there it is. Screen to behave. So 5-2 um in Vegas. Vegas, of course, beat the Dallas Stars 4-2 in the series. I was away when it happened.
Yeah,
Um
condolences.
I know. After yeah, I mean, it was stupid of me to get my hopes up when the Stars clawed 2 games back because that was I think the Vegas just wanted to align it so they could win at home. Toying with their
There's always
food.
that possibility, yeah.
Toying with their
Well,
food.
I mean, to come back from the 3-0 to take 2 games was something. What
It
I
was.
mean, the person that looked kinda foolish was Jamie Benn through the whole thing because the only games they won was when he was suspended, so
Perfect record without him. Yeah, I was saying before those games, leave him out. Leave the last game, leave him out. Just he doesn't deserve to play. But
Well, most of the Dallas fans on Twitter were like, "Jamie Benn's gonna come back in game 6, and he's just gonna run roughshod over everybody," and I was like, I
well,
don't think so."
he ran roughshod over his own team maybe, but
Yeah,
there was no
yeah.
no riding and no roughshodding going on by anybody on the Stars side. I think they already had their golf trips booked and they didn't want to change their flights. So
People
yeah,
don't come back from 3-0 very often, so
no, there's no way they were going to beat his.
unfortunately, it is what it is. I mean,
Well, they
you were kinda
overachieved.
prepared for it most of the season based on your attitude about the team most of the season. It was probably exciting to get to where you guys got, but, I mean
Winning 2 rounds is pretty good. I think they could have
Mhm.
put up a better fight at the end. I mean, they capitulated in the last game horribly. I guess they'd overachieved, I think. So,
Yeah,
you know.
and that in itself is an achievement, so
Yeah, I mean, any season, any team that supports a team would say, if you said at the start of the season you're going to make the conference finals, you'd say, brilliant. So,
I'll take that.
yeah, take that. So it was Vegas, Florida, neither of whom have won the thing before. I don't think. Don't think Florida have won
I
it.
don't think Florida have. Last time they were in the Stanley Cup Finals, I believe, was 95-96 against a, team called the Avalanche, and Patrick Waugh did not let them breathe
Indeed.
to get
Well,
his 3rd ring.
that's right. So they're not off to a tremendous start tonight, losing 5-2. Um, so we'll see how that goes. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll probably be not quite. We're not. Well, but you're in Dallas next week anyway, so we probably won't be doing a show. But it
Yeah,
won't
that's
quite
gonna
be
make it
over
difficult.
by then. It might still just be going. But
Yeah, I think it'll go to the following week. I mean, we'll be off next week again for since I'm gonna be out of town, and
yeah,
unfortunately, you're not gonna be able to join us, but, uh, we'll
no,
take next week off and then talk who won the cup in the following week
indeed.
on Bourbon and Boarding and close out the year.
Close out the year, indeed. Yeah, unfortunately, I will not be going to Dallas now due to back problems. In fact, I need a crane to get me in and out of this seat at the moment. But welcome everybody in YouTube and in Rumble. EC Clay's here, Smokey is here,
Clay, Smokey,
Smokey and
Jacob Ironside,
Jacob
David
Ironside. Yeah,
Duckworth.
Davina is here. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining us. Glad you didn't
Yeah.
forget us after a week off. I mean, I did have a nice trip. I just couldn't do a lot of walking, which was, I thought the heat might help me a bit more, but it made things worse. The swimming was good, but what the hell? You know.
But I'm sure you had a few nice drinks out there and got to sit by the water and watch the bikinis go by.
Well, the resort I was at, there wasn't so many good-looking bikinis going by.
It was
Slightly
one of those
more
all the people
gray-haired.
were your age.
Yeah. Well, the resort we were at was beautiful, don't get me wrong. There's like 4 parts of it. We were in the Casitas part, which was mainly, and we're members of the travel thing that
Oh,
own,
so you
for
went
the
to
people.
the clothing required part, not the clothing optional
Well,
part.
I'm glad clothing was required in some cases, to be honest. But a lot of people from Dallas and Texas there, funnily enough, so that was quite interesting.
Huh.
But there was two younger parts of the resort either side. One that had kids was more for families. One was more for kind of younger
Yeah.
ravers, and then there's the Nickelodeon part at the far end. So it's quite a huge resort in that respect. Luckily, golf carts, they take you around everywhere in golf carts. So otherwise,
Right.
I was in dire straits, but the pool, sitting
In
by
big
the pool
trouble.
was lovely, I have to say.
Yeah. So with
It
all those
was
Dallas people there, did you get to explain, yes, I lived in Dallas, I'm a Scot, and I am now a Canadian?
exactly, yeah. So they all wanted to hear the story.
Yeah.
There was a couple of Oilers fans there, which is quite interesting. So I had a good chat with
Boo.
them, and they were like, "We want you to beat Vegas because we hate Vegas." I said, "No, don't get your
Yeah.
hopes up."
Most of the West hates Vegas, I think.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
Not real ill will, just doesn't feel like they've paid any dues for what they've been able to
they
do.
have not. How many millions over the cap are they?
Mike DiCarlo has joined us.
Oh, Mike, good to see you, buddy. Well, I'm glad Mike's joined because so we should close out our brackets because they are done, I think. I don't think anybody can accumulate any more points. And Mike is the winner.
Congratulations, Mr. DiCarlo.
Well played, Mike. 172 points. A clear winner, I'd have to say.
Yeah, we all picked absolutely wrong, except
Yeah, but he picked Vegas.
he's got Vegas still alive.
Yeah, so well played, Mike. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I guess Vegas wasn't an unreason. There was a possibility they would make it, but picking the Leafs, Mike, if only you hadn't been such a homer.
If he hadn't have been a homer, he'd have probably picked Boston. I mean, let's be honest. So
That's true. So Mike was top. Kangarooster, who was let down with the Stars, was just tiny bit above Wade Nation in third. Pope was fourth. Brahma, you were sixth.
Yep, Smokey in fifth.
And I was ninth. And bottom, TZ was eight. I was ninth. Southern Bell was 10th, and Crimlon was 11th with 10 points. Let's just revisit Crimlon's.
Let's revisit. Boston got destroyed in the first round. LA,
yeah,
that was an interesting pick. So the only pick in there was Dallas.
Dallas was his only points. Yeah,
that's what he gets for going against the Avs. I mean, for picking mostly underdogs. That's what happens in the NHL.
That's right. Yeah, and the chat bracket was 7th, right in the middle. Yeah, that one was done a while.
Yeah,
done a little.
Not a horrible showing there.
No, I mean, to pick
for it being
Carolina.
a combined, everybody kind of throwing stuff in there, and taking
got one
votes
conference
for the
finalist.
picks.
Yeah, I got one conference finalist right. So
yeah,
but yeah, with it's disappointing that no one can gain any more points.
Yeah, no matter what happens, our bracket challenge is dead at this point.
But it was fun though. Hofcast is in the chat.
I'm glad we did it. I'm glad everybody got to participate in it, and we had something that we could do as a channel. So we'll definitely do it again next year.
Maybe we'll do a fantasy league next season. You know, Yahoo, just a Yahoo fantasy.
We
league.
could.
Yeah,
that It gives everybody a little bit more incentive to be involved every week.
Exactly. So Hofcast is reporting the news, which I'd seen some rumors of, that Babcock's probably going to end up as Blue Jackets coach.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me. So my condolences to the Blue Jackets in that case. I think the
Yeah.
legend of Babcock is overplayed because I think he only got one cup, the Wings. Am I right in saying
With the
one
Wings.
cup? Yeah.
Yeah. The thing with Babcock, I mean, the people that really dislike Babcock dislike him because he's a concussion denier, is what they try to call him,
Hmm.
which is kind of ridiculous. But I have seen a lot of whining that with Patrick Waugh out there and Babcock's the one you choose. But the same thing on the same token, Waugh walked away from the Avs a week before training camp, so Hoff is happy with it.
Yeah, I mean he's
And
not
he is a
mad.
winning coach.
He
I mean,
is.
so we'll see what he can do over there.
Yeah, I mean it's not his fault the Leafs sucked.
And I'm seeing a lot of rumblings about Waugh to the Ottawa Senators. That seems to be
Really?
what's possibly going to happen. He just took his team, and I can't remember which league it is, if it's the CHL or the KHL or the AHL, but he took them to the championship and won it this year, I believe. And then I think his contract is up, so I think he's done as far as the minor leagues, and he's looking to get back into the NHL.
Yeah, I'm just trying
Which
to
I love
figure
what Waugh did for us. I just don't like what he
out.
did for us as a coach.
Yeah, right enough. So he's the coach of the Quebec Ramparts, who are in the final of the Memorial Cup. So they won
Okay,
the
so he hasn't won
Quebec.
it yet.
Yeah, they won the Quebec Major Junior. They're in the final of the Memorial Cup against Seattle Thunderbirds.
Okay.
So that's pretty good actually. Pretty good because that was the Memorial Cup finals have been pretty tough. I mean, Seattle put Peterborough out, and they're a tough team after
Yeah.
Peterborough put Kamloops out. So, yeah, the Blazers did quite well, but they were 4-1 up in the game against the Petes, and then the Petes won it in overtime. So they, clawed that back. But yeah, well done to Patrick Roy. Pat
Yeah.
Roy.
I'm sure he'll get another chance. It still steams some of the Avalanche fans that a week before training camp he just walked out. I mean, Bednar has been a fantastic coach that replaced him, so I mean, we can't really complain all that much. We've gotten a cup since then, and Bednar turned the team around in a fantastic way, along with Sakic's great trades and draft picks. But that's kind of a crappy thing to do. Head coach walking out week before you
It's
really
bad.
start the actual job for the year.
Yeah, throws the whole.
I mean, we were
into
scrambling to
disarray.
find somebody, so
Well, maybe he's got his shit together now. He seems like he's certainly coaching well in the juniors with Senators.
he
Yeah, I
coaches
think.
well. A lot of his players have some things to say about him too, about his temper and his temperament. So we'll see how he does with the pros again, because I mean, he may be more suited for the pros. I mean, in the minor leagues, you're dealing with guys who want to get up there, and he has been there, so they really can't say anything to him. Once you get to the pros, they're getting paid big bucks to do what they think they're supposed to do. And in hockey, I think it's a little bit less than, say, basketball or baseball or even football. I think hockey players know that they're there for the team, but at the same time, they've been the big fish in a little pond most of their lives, and they don't take well to being told exactly what their new role is going to be if the coach is going to change everything up. So
Indeed.
we'll see. And
Yeah, well,
I mean,
sounds a
that's
bit.
still rumored that he might go to Ottawa. I mean, the new ownership team that is looking like they're going to be in charge, there's a few of them that are really high on Waugh. So we think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess they're disappointed about not getting Ryan Reynolds buying them, so they're going to go for the next best thing.
Yeah, go for one of the greatest goalies in history to be your coach.
Indeed. And, if both goalies are injured, he can strap on the pads again and get out there.
Yeah, he can be the E-bug against his own team or for his own team, depending on what happens.
Yeah. So I forgot to ask, sir, what you're drinking tonight, if anything.
I am having a little touch of Early Times, bottled and bond, 100 proof.
Nice.
I've also already had an Eagle Rare with my dad and a E.H. Taylor straight rye earlier tonight. So we watched the game together and played a little bit of Settlers of Catan with the family and watched the game earlier. So
nice.
So I got a little bit of a head start, but not too much of one.
Yeah. Well, I'm drinking
H2O.
H2O. Dihydrogen monoxide, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
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 Because it would conflict.
I really do hope you get to feeling better. I hope that they can figure out something on that, because sucky situation.
Yeah, it's without getting into too
Your
much
back
detail,
is not something you can just ignore. I mean, it affects every aspect of every day.
It's getting worse as well, which is unfortunate. I without getting into too much gory detail, I find it hard to walk more than a few yards without excruciating agony. So
yeah, you're gonna have to get the lazy boy in your studio like I did for a while and have a nice, comfy, relaxing seat that just melt into.
This is a pretty good argument. You see, I was thinking if I get everything on the ceiling, I could lie on the floor. That might help.
That would work.
The boom.
It'll be a hell of a lot of pain in your back trying to get it all tacked up to the ceiling.
Yeah, but I was so looking forward to going to Dallas, but I can't risk it. I mean, I could just collapse at any moment there.
Yeah, your health is more important than the meetup, although we all would have loved to have seen you out there. I mean, it's a shame, but you got to take care of yourself.
Next one, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't want to diss my doctor. Not that he would
Canadian
be watching
healthcare
YouTube,
system.
but it's not great.
You can diss the Canadian healthcare system.
Yes, they're more interested in not spending money than in spending money. So they'd rather dish out a few prescriptions than, say, pay for an MRI. And
I mean, to be fair,
MRI is what's needed.
In America, I mean, as much as I love our system compared to the socialized medicine, the insurance companies don't like spending money. I mean, my daughter's needed her tonsils out for years, and the insurance company gets to decide whether that happens or whether it comes out of my pocket. And, I mean, her tonsils, I had the same thing when I was little. My tonsils they kept them in the hospital in a jar because they were so large as a specimen.
Jeez.
And hers are the same. She inherited them. So her airway closes up anytime she gets any kind of infection in her throat. And they're like, no, she has to have strep like 10 months out of 12 for us to authorize a tonsillectomy.
Yeah.
And that was on the morning she was supposed to have the tonsillectomy. They called the doctor and said, yeah, we're not approving the surgery after pre-approval. So, I mean, we get some of the same crap here. It's just different. You guys have the government doing it. We have the insurance company doing it.
Yeah, well, the unfortunate thing here is that the doctor, your GP, and they're hard enough to get one in the first place because there's a shortage. They're the gatekeeper. And if they say, if you don't like it, bugger off, you've got very little recourse.
Yeah.
To do anything else. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what I need, but he doesn't like that. So,
surgery option.
Yeah, well, I need to me, it needs further scanning and to determine.
Yeah, something whether more it's than cursory look.
I think it's I mean it's spinal stenosis, but is it caused by the entire lumbar bone closing, or is it spurs? Both can be fixed. He's not willing to go as far as investigating that.
To go to figure out which one needs to be fixed.
He thinks after 7 months that it's still a long way to go before we get to that point, and I'm saying no, I can't walk. It's
Yeah. Has he offered you the Canada option yet?
no, and that's what I was wondering when it was going to come. He might say, "Oh, we have another option on the table, though."
Yeah. I mean, it's not really that funny, but yeah,
But I
since
was
we talk
waiting for
about it
that,
on
though.
other shows that we're on together,
I have
yeah.
been waiting for him to say that. Yeah, like, oh, you do know there's another option.
Oh, you'd like a
But
chairlift?
that's
Too
right.
bad.
Yeah.
Here's the other option.
But
Ridiculous.
it's just, I mean, in all other respects, it's unfortunate because I feel exceptionally healthy and strong.
hmm
You know, I've always been robust all my life, worked out, done a lot of physical stuff, and everything else about me feels great. Just this one freaking thing, and just so happens it's one of the most important things.
Yeah, it's just the one that holds everything else kind of together
Yeah,
in place.
yeah. So
Walking,
we'll
sitting,
see.
standing.
Thanks everyone for your well wishes, but yeah, I will make a meetup, whether it's this one or it's not going to be this one, but there'll be others. I will be there.
Yeah,
And we'll get
looking
this
forward to
sorted.
it.
We'll get this sorted eventually. But yeah, thanks everybody. I did want to. I'm sure there was. Oh yeah, so just going back to what was mentioned earlier about Wayne. Somebody mentioned Hofcast.
Gretzky.
So Hoff said Gretzky should never have tried coaching. Well, there's other things he should never have tried, in my opinion, and one of those would be acting, I think.
I didn't know you could ski.
I didn't know angels could fly so low.
Go clear some tables.
You talk too much.
Oh, I hope he doesn't drown.
I remember that one when it aired.
SNL, yeah. There's a whole bunch of
Yep.
those, and he's playing hockey with Wayne and Garth and stuff. But
Well, I've been watching him on the commentary, and yeah, he's not really all that good there either.
Not great. Like
He's
talking.
got old man mush mouth a little bit. I mean, he can get his point out, but it doesn't sound good when he does it.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? He's never been good at
But
that stuff.
what he is good at is hockey and producing daughters.
That's true. I mean, he made a great appearance in the Nickelback video, Rockstar. He was okay in that, but he didn't have to speak. But
We
convincing
brought up
proof.
Nickelback on a Bourbon and Boarding show.
So he also, I didn't know this because it's not a show I would ever have watched, or it was never on in the UK anyway at the time. But my God, it's one of daytime soaps are not my thing. This is
Yeah.
final conclusive proof that he's not an actor. If I can get this to play. Oh, hang on. No, I need the button.
And this is Wayne out of our Edmonton operation. Sure could use some of your class around home. Nikki?
Thank you. Are you just visiting, Mr.
Call me Wayne. Everybody does.
Wayne? Well, I'm glad you could join us.
Just wish I could go along on your honeymoon, too. Oh, come on. With all the girls you got, don't make me laugh. Trade all of mine for yours.
So, do you work for the same people as Tony?
Yeah, I hope I do my job as well as you do yours. Wayne, help us out with some champagne, man. Yeah, I'll be back.
So, bonus points for those who can name that show. Anyone? Anyone that thinks they know what that show is? Oh, you're muted again, mate, or I've muted you, one or the other. Hang on. Did I mute you?
I was trying to get rid of the echo on the video, but
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I'm guessing Young and the Restless, but
You
that
are guessing
is
correctly.
only because that's the only one I know the name of.
The Young and the Restless. Now, what I was wondering was, were those awkward pauses part of the script, or was it?
That was him trying to find the cue card behind, kind of like Christopher Walken looking left and then looking right to figure out which line is next from behind each other actor.
That's right. Oh God! But 10 out of 10 for the mullet, as Hofka said. The mullet was worth it. But...
I mean, he was. I don't know if he actually voiced himself in the old cartoon with Michael Jordan and Bo Jackson and Wayne Gretzky, but I don't remember that being bad.
Maybe it's
I
just
seriously doubt they voiced themselves, but
No.
maybe.
probably not. But my God, that was awkward.
True.
Anyway, Gretzky and Young and the Restless. So other news this week, obviously the Penguins, surprise, hired Kyle Dubas as, not as GM though, as president of
As
hockey
president.
operations.
So he gets
El
to name the
Presidente.
GM.
It's the name. He's El Presidente now.
And he
we-
still thinks that the core four should stick together, that this isn't really a rebuild.
I think it's a rebuild.
I think he doesn't want to admit it, but yeah, he should probably ship some guys off and start a rebuild. But I'm fine if he doesn't, because
Well, I tell you what, if the Stars, because we love veteran defenders, I'll take Chris Letang any day. So if he wants to do a swap for Suter, we'll take Chris Letang, no problem.
you guys
I
do
don't
love
know.
old guys.
Yeah. So again, I gotta get rid of that message. There we go. Yeah, that was no surprise. There was, I mean, whether do you wonder if he was plotting this before he made those comments in Toronto?
Well, you wonder if there's any tampering that was going on.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, no big surprise there. What does a president of hockey operations do? Because we've got one in the Stars. I've no idea what he does apart from insult Jamie Benn, which is, if that's his job, that's good.
Well, I mean, Sakic is technically our president of operations. He gave up the GM spot and took over president of operations. I think in football, I think Elway had kind of done the same thing. So he has a GM that actually does the drafting, but the president's kind of still got the last call on everything. I wouldn't be surprised if the president of operations is involved on trade, all trade stuff, and he probably has some input on the draft. But I mean, anymore, I think if you've got the president and a GM, I think the president is really working as the GM, and the GM is really kind of the head of the scouting department.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it feels, how it looks.
Well, I guess the president role would also handle everything, not just the top team, but all the
Yeah,
farm
that could be it
stuff.
as well.
Yeah,
Taking care of the lower leagues and probably also taking care of some of the alumni stuff and making sure that all that comes together in the correct way.
Indeed.
I don't know.
So,
I'd have to actually see a job description for what the president does versus what a GM does. A GM is obviously probably going to focus mostly on the NHL team. I think you're probably right. The president probably looks at the whole picture for the organization rather than just the NHL level.
I guess so. I mean, I've never quite been able to figure it out, but clearly he's got something to do. And at 37-year-old, that's pretty meaty. I mean, 5 years at the Leafs as GM now. This not bad for a 37-year-old, really.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to get away with flipping off the crowd or yelling into the crowd anymore. But
no,
he'll have to mature
a
little bit into the president of hockey operations position.
I would like to see it though.
Yeah, I mean that's like when Waugh becomes your coach and he knocks down the dividing glass in between the two teams. It's like, okay. Apparently, we don't know the etiquette of how your job role goes at this level.
So, I guess if Roy does get the Senator's job, the games against the Habs will be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mike thinks he had the Penguins in his back, but I think so. I think that he had that in his back pocket all along. So
yeah, I don't know if there was tampering, but there was definitely probably an understood deal already. Kind of there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be keeping Malkin and Crosby regardless. I don't think they'd want to move, but I'd love to see Letang available. I don't think the Stars could afford.
I think it becomes a question of Crosby wants to continue to go through what is kind of a long-term rebuild here. I mean, they keep
Yeah.
trying to make it a short-term rebuild instead of calling it what it is, and he may not want to finish his career, just kind of struggling every single year trying to make a team work that they're piecemealing together.
Yeah. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I mean, if he was to be an RFA at the end of the season, then they could cash in big on him. That's what they should do.
Yeah. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I bet he has
Yeah.
a no move clause that he has control over.
Sure. And that makes sense. But yeah, they should be looking to get something for him and Malkin and Letang.
If the season starts off bad,
Yeah.
they should be looking to make moves at the trade deadline next year.
And of
I don't know
course,
about during the summer. It doesn't sound like he's going to even think about doing it during the summer.
no,
but
I think it'll be trade
trade
deadline.
deadline
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And of course, the Leafs did get a new GM, Brad Treliving. I never know whether it's Treliving or Treliving. It's
Well,
probably
he has to get to work
Smith.
immediately.
Yes. Well, he was on the plane to Arizona straight away, I think, to talk to Matthews. Not to talk to the Coyotes, who are
Right.
still claiming they're going to stay in Arizona.
Yeah,
But,
I still don't see how they stay in Arizona long term.
yeah. So yeah, Matthews though. So yeah, you want a guy like Matthews in the regular season, but he didn't excite anybody in the postseason. So is he worth an even bigger contract? Is the question.
Well, and how many times can you keep giving out contracts that end up wounding you long term?
Yeah.
I mean, there's multiple teams that do it, but I mean, at some point, it's you can't keep giving players contracts. I mean, look at Kadri. 7x7, $49 million.
Yeah.
Didn't do much for Calgary this year.
Did not.
Nothing at all. And I mean, yeah, that was way overpaying for a player.
It's an anchor. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be an albatross around that team's neck for years to come, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know what Matthews is making now. I don't know. It's like 13 million a year or whatever, but he's going to want more. It's a lot of money tied up in four guys.
We already have the benchmark for next season. I can't remember the numbers, but McKinnon will already be the highest paid player in the league next year. They did a contract extension that starts in this coming season. He will be the highest paid player in the league next year. So that's the benchmark for where everybody's at going in.
Yeah, and nobody would deny that Matthews is worth a lot of money in the regular season, but he hasn't shown any playoff game-changing.
That's kind of like McDavid and Draisaitl. They don't win in the playoffs.
They at least have an impact, though, in the playoffs. Matthews had zero impact.
They do,
in my
but if that impact still leads to them not ever getting a cup, then, I mean, they're putting up record numbers every year, and they're not doing what the team. I mean, the goal is the Stanley Cup. It's not to win individual awards every year, I would think.
Yeah.
So it may be for those two. I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're. They would never take a hometown discount or anything like that to actually go for a cup.
And talking to Oilers fans while I was on holiday, there was a few of them there. Mostly people from Texas were at this resort, but there were some Oilers fans, and they were not confident that these guys are going to stick around anymore. So,
well, I mean, you're paying those two guys to basically be your team.
Yeah. So Mike says, I love how these guys get raises and promotions for not winning anything. Well, absolutely.
Failing upwards.
They're being rewarded for failure. Maybe there's time for a change. The window is maybe when this squad is done in Toronto. Maybe they should cash in on one or two of these guys.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, so that was I mean, there are other coaching changes, whatever. We'll catch up on those next in a couple of weeks. The one thing we did have the Val Nikushkin scenario. A little bit
Yeah.
more came out. The police body cam footage was revealed. I've got it, but it's not that exciting to watch, so I don't need to show it. But
And I haven't gotten a look at it yet.
we can have a quick peek at it, I think, then, just to. It didn't tell us anything, I don't think, that we didn't know. So let's just.
Yeah, and there's still no news coming out of the Avalanche or out of Denver.
The only thing I heard from somebody on Twitter was they said the NHL have no plans to not let Nikushkin play. They're not even looking at it. So how they've made that judgment, I don't know, or what information they have to make that call, I don't know. Where is he even right now?
As two Seattle police
Turn the volume down a
arrived
bit.
at the team hotel on April 22nd, they walked up to an ambulance with a woman.
Now this video has been edited in places before the police handed it over.
Yeah, there's a cut there, obviously.
Yeah. But when they're talking here, this keeps getting cut.
Seattle PD cuts the audio out.
That's the central issue. We had a girl in his room.
Another cut.
We're trying to get her out of the room, and very clearly, not send her.
So that's the team doctor.
Just to get it moved.
Yeah. And they keep.
Jankstrom says he decided
There's a couple of cuts in it.
to get EMS to take her away. The officer warns that she's being taken to the hospital, but could be released to come back.
The person she was with is no longer.
After a few minutes, Jankstrom connects the cop with an off-duty Denver cop traveling with
Yeah,
team
we're getting
for
echo
security.
again. I'm not
Lieutenant
sure
Todd
why.
Fuller hands over his DPD business card.
I don't know. I don't think I'm doing anything different.
You saw my car.
Let's just mute it so that we can see the captioning. But
The woman who says that she was
Yeah, we miss out on some of it then. But, so she had a passport. Is that
yeah, and the
supposed to be
initial
her?
claim was that she was here against her will. In America against her will.
Yeah, very bad. He liar. Took her passport, which is obviously what they would do if someone was under control.
Right, and she's either Russian with Ukrainian descent or Ukrainian with Russian descent. I can't remember which way it goes, but
Now they're talking about his medical health at the end there.
which
So-
that's the only thing I can think of that gets him off the hook on the whole, I have to take a personal leave, is if he has an addiction problem and they checked him into a rehab, because nobody seems to have seen him. Nobody's heard from him, at least that they're releasing to the public. I imagine some of the upper brass and the organization know some of what's going on, but they're very tight-lipped about this, and I think hoping that it just disappears over the summer.
And so far, the NHL appears to be either saying nothing or saying, well, there's nothing for us to do here. So,
Right.
But
All
yeah,
around weird.
My personal feeling is he's already on the front lines in the Ukraine, and
Yeah. But yes, Mike DiCarlo says, I heard Avs had intentions on playing him next season. With the contract he signed, of course, we've got intentions on playing him, but I mean, where is he? that's kind of the mystery here.
It's a mystery.
Where is he? What's going on? I mean,
it's a
it's all
mystery we'll
weird.
continue to look at because we don't get this very often. So it's quite intriguing.
No, in professional sports, I mean, you could have the whole Varlamov almost being deported for domestic disturbance, that kind of thing. But I mean, this one's strange on a different level than most of them. So
it is. So something else that happened, which is curious. Another curious thing. Not so much curious, but kind of weird, was the Czech Hockey Hall of Fame closed due to financial problems. So there's all this footage of the Dominator basically taking his gear and sticking it in shopping carts.
Yeah, all the stuff that he donated to the Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
being like, okay, come get it. I mean,
yeah. So
you would think that they would just auction. Well, I don't know if they could auction it off because it was donated. So that but I don't know what Czech law is.
I don't know. I mean, did he donate it or did he just loan it? I mean, he's certainly taking it home, and so would I if I was him. But this is.
Well, if all they're doing is closing it down and throwing it on the street, if they don't come get it, I don't know what's going on.
Quite right to take it, but clearly he's either in or was quick to get to Czechoslovakia, or he's there already, and he's looking in good shape. I have to say,
he probably still has a home there.
Yeah, he's looking in good shape. The Dominator.
Yep.
There is talk that it's going to reopen in a different place because they're hosting. I think it's the next World Cup or something.
Really?
I don't know. They're hosting something. Maybe it's the IIHF. So there is talk that they're going to move it and reopen it, but he's quite right not to take any chances. But so we had a Dominator sighting.
Yep.
So
in
the
other
thing,
news,
well, go ahead, mate.
in other Colorado Avalanche news,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Lonzo Ball, we're not sure is ever going to play basketball again because the team sure isn't acting like he's going to be back with them. He had the same surgery that Landeskog had. In fact, he was the guy that Landeskog had gone and reached out to about the surgery for the cartilage replacement. He had had 2 or 3 surgeries on the knee before that, just like Landeskog had. And I mean, the whole thing was 85% chance of, success in the surgery. And so far, both guys have said, I think everything is pointed to the surgery was successful. The thing that is now the question is, if Lonzo Ball's never playing basketball again, is that 85% success rate that you have cartilage in your knee and you might be able to walk again for the rest of your life, or you'll be able to play professional sports? Because it's a little bit on the deceptive side if it's 85% success, and that's just to get you to be able to function every day versus play professional sports. So Landeskog, we are all in Colorado at least looking at it going, crossing our fingers. He's already out all next season. And that'll be 2 full seasons out. And that would make his last game that he played with us the Stanley Cup winning game.
Jeez,
but I mean, can you come back from 2 years off, 4 major knee surgeries, and an experimental surgery that
it's not looking
has
good.
been done a handful of times?
Doesn't look good. No.
No, and it's aggravating. He's very young, and he's been a great captain for us, and I would hate to see his career end like that. I mean, it's great that his career ended with the cup, but it would be horrible to see another career ended short off of injuries. We've had that too many times in the NHL, well, and other sports, but in the NHL, Colorado specifically has had a few that have been superstar caliber that have gone down. Forsberg.
Yeah, Forsberg have been the prime example. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something about that rarefied air in Denver, you see.
Yeah, I guess it weakens your ankles and knees. Not the skate going across your patella.
Nothing to do with
cartilage.
Air pressure. It's all about air pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wish Landeskog the best of luck. Obviously, we're not going to hear a lot out of that.
No, it's
till late next
another
season.
2 seasons, or a full season, and then into the next season until we find out what's going on there. So it's going to be one of those long term. We just readdress every now and then if there's any news that comes out. Yeah.
So Red Shirt's here. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. So good luck to Gabriel Landeskog. Something else that we wanted to talk about was something you flagged up about rule changes. Let me make that a bit
these
bigger.
are going to be interesting. So the Champions League is updating the penalty rules for 2023-2024. and I think it's something that the NHL might want to look at adopting at some point. So there's 3 major changes. Penalties will still be assessed even if there is a goal scored on a delayed penalty. So when the ref has his arm up, you get the goalie off, you bring on the extra guy. If you get the goal, the guy's still going to the box for the 2 minutes, which I think is correct because you should get some advantage because the penalty was done, and then the guy should still get punished for committing the penalty. I mean, a goal is a punishment, but I mean, it'll maybe clean up some of the ticky-tacky crap that goes on that doesn't need to be there. I mean, you're going to have an actual punishment if you commit a penalty.
I agree entirely with that one. I've always thought it strange that you commit a penalty, and it could be a bad one. And just because the other team takes advantage in the of the delayed penalty, that suddenly that infraction is waived off just because they score.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
you still need to serve the penalty.
You can just continue playing. You don't even have to go to the bench.
Yeah.
Minor penalties will be served for the full 2 minutes, meaning it will be treated almost like a major, where it's 2 minutes regardless of whether there's a score. So you could have multiple scores on a minor penalty now, which would be interesting. All of this, I think, is to get, well, I think they even say it in the article, this is to add potential offense to the game. So
I'm interested in these, and I actually agree with them all. I do agree with them. So
yeah, I think so. Until my team's on the losing end of it. But
Sorry.
the third change is shorthanded goals by the penalty kill team will end the minor penalty. So even though the penalty would be served for the full 2 minutes, if the other team scores a shorthanded goal, that's going to end the penalty right there. That's to get the PK to try to be more offensive minded.
Yes.
To go on the counterattack instead of sitting back and trying to just block everything.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I agree.
I think that's interesting.
We don't like it when it happens to us, our teams, but I like these potential changes. I'll be interested to see how they work out. Is there a history, I wonder, of the NHL adopting
NHL
rules?
treated the 2 minute minor penalty rule up until 1956, I think. I think if we scroll down, I think it says it. But the 2 minute penalty was a 2 minute penalty until 1956. Yeah. Second paragraph, or second bullet point there.
Yeah. Minor penalties will be served for the full 2 minutes, and that was how it was until 56. Yeah.
So it's essentially a 2 minute major is the way it plays out. I mean, the way we know the rules today.
So you could see some interesting scenarios. You could see a team being maybe up by a goal or two. They give away a penalty. During the delayed penalty part, they lose a goal. Then the actual penalty starts, they lose a couple more. That could be a huge swing within two or 3 minutes of one game.
That's going to make the power play and the penalty kill so much more important. I mean, you would see an actual change in the league where you have to sign players that are good on the PK and good on the power play and concentrate on those areas. I mean, teams already do, of course, but I mean, this would make it so much more important that A, you stay out of the box, and B, you have the guys that can get it done when the penalty does occur, because 2 minutes is a long time. Add on, I mean, sometimes we've seen 2 minutes of delayed penalty before the penalty even starts. Add on what you can score there and the penalty still happens. That's a lot of time in a game with odd man advantage.
There's another interesting point about the first one, with the delayed penalty, that if there is a goal scored right now, the penalty doesn't happen.
Right.
But that wipes out all the record of that penalty being called in the first place.
So the penalty minutes are off.
Yeah, there's a big stats impact there. And also, in terms of a player's history, if ever a hearing is done down the line for a more serious offence, it doesn't look like he's done things that often. I mean, this is probably, I mean, how often does it happen? Maybe there's about a dozen of those goals a year. But, it's still stats that are being overruled.
Yeah,
Penalty
well, I mean,
stats.
you're pulling the goalie and you're getting an extra skater out there. It's not much different than the end of the game. I mean, how often do we see the extra skater out there being the difference? It depends on whether you can. It depends on the situation, because if you have the time to actually get something set up, oftentimes they will score before the penalty is actually assessed. If it's just bang bang, the other team touches the puck, of course you don't have time to set up, but I mean that's going to give incentive for people to touch that puck real quick. I mean, it makes everything a little bit more elevated as to the way people will handle these situations.
Sure. I like that point you just made, because a lot of teams tend to collapse into their crease, under their crease, when the delayed penalty thing happens. This will make them maybe try and attack the puck to get the puck on their stick, to get the whistle to blow. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just a touch up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'd like to say hello to your Muslim uncle. Good to see you, buddy. And Keely Chow is here. Hello, Keely.
Yeah, your Muslim uncle is a little bit angry, apparently.
Is he angry with?
Yeah, I'll bring up the chat.
Oh yeah,
where
this
was
one.
it? Yeah, you've got it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if a lot of people, particularly in the West, would disagree with you. So, but I'm wondering, in terms of adoption of rules, I know the NHL has farmed out rule changes to the juniors at times to try them out. I'm not sure this was the case here with the Champions League, because it's a very different. I mean, it's in Europe.
No, I think they're literally just trying to get scoring up in their league, and I hope the NHL pays attention, because the NHL has for years said, we want scoring. These would be ways to do it without, kind of handcuffing the defense the way that we've seen in prior years, where they just call everything against a defensive player and the offensive player. I mean, granted, we had a whole era where the defense got away with everything. They could maul you all up and down the ice. But I think the pendulum has swung a little bit too far back, where, I mean, they're calling little tiny things anymore sometimes. And that's just, you can't ever tell what is a penalty. So,
well, particularly with things like interference.
Yeah. And I'm still angry that if goaltender interference gets called, that it's not a penalty. When on the goal reviews, that still drives me nuts.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that one. It's, hey, well, if it was interference, then it's a penalty. It should be.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
No.
You're taking away a goal, but if it's interference as the reason for taking away that goal, then the other team should go on the power play for interfering with the goalie.
I think this would be the reaction of the NHL if they were asked to adopt Champions League rules.
Great day for hey, eh, boys?
Did you get her done?
Just kidding, we don't give a fuck.
That's the NHL's position, probably. I don't know. I could see this being looked at closely by other leagues, because we all want offensive play.
Yeah. We like to see goals.
It bites us.
Smokey asked, what would you think about icing being called on the PK team? I think that may be taking it a bit too far. I mean, that's the only advantage the PK team really has.
Yeah.
If you change these rules, you're already incentivizing the PK team to try to keep the puck and try to go up and score, because that would end a full 2-minute power play. If it is treated as a major, the same way as a major, you can score unlimited goals on the 2 minutes. You've already got incentive to try to drive to score to get off of that as quick as you can. So I don't think I would agree necessarily with getting rid of the icing rules as far as on the PK. Let them sky it if they want to, get it out of the zone. But I would much rather see them start to get more aggressive and take it out of the zone and carry it, and maybe do line changes on the fly while they're doing that, instead of just, all right, we got it out, everybody go for a line change.
Yeah.
Have one or two guys that are out there that are your specialist in trying to get that shorthanded goal set up.
Indeed. No, that's sensible stuff, mate. So I'd just like to thank our good buddy, your Muslim uncle, for the 199 super chat. 2-minute penalty serve would be a goal scorer's dream. As in the continuing of the 2-minute penalty, even if they score. I think that's.
Imagine what the power play numbers would go up to, the percentages and stuff.
Look at certain teams who are devastatingly good on the power play, like Edmonton. That's it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, it changes a lot if they were to adopt something like this. I don't see it happening for 3 or 4 years minimum in the NHL. Yeah. I mean, they're slow to change on stuff like that.
They are, and I guess for good reason. You don't want to be chopping and changing. But thank you, your Muslim uncle. I guess that deserves a clip of some nature.
But know this shit hard. If ever there comes a time when it gets down to the marrow and it's you and me, kid, I will lay you the fuck out.
Oh, you caught me drinking water.
What? What? Crime.
You gotta dash the water in every now and then.
So did get a little bit of we did have a little bit of video from the Memorial Cup, which was actually New Jersey Devils draft pick Chase Stillman plays for the Peterborough Petes, and they had that epic game against Kamloops where they were 4-1 down and came back to win. I guess the Stillman had a great game, not if you're a Blazers fan, but he had a great game if you were a Petes fan. And this is quite amusing. He lays a player out and with a basically he obliterated several Blazers. Boom. That's Semenoff, who's a Stars player. And then he goes on to play out and Stank, I think, was it Stankoven? Whoever it was, he laid him out too in the fight. So, right in the face. Ow. So Stillman had himself a game. So the Devils have
around hitting whatever he wants.
That's right. Feisty player the Devils have got in their hands there. So that was quite amusing. Although I didn't like to see him hitting Semenoff so hard. He may play for Dallas next year. And so it was Semenoff and Stankoven's last games for the Blazers.
Okay.
Before they go down to Dallas, or they may play for Texas AHL, but I've got a feeling at least Stankoven's going to make it. But I did have a little clip of Stank doing his thing. I think he's going to be a big player for us. So let's have a wee look from the same game. I think. He puts this one away in pretty well. Interesting angle to see it from. So
they're going to come up with all kinds of nicknames for that guy.
Skank. But yeah, he got a great send off, even though they lost the game. He got a great send off at the end of the night. It's his last game, and he's been captain for 2 years. So good luck, Stank, with the Stars. I think he will be playing for them. I don't think he'll go to the AHL. I think he's going to go straight into the Stars team. And Semenoff too. The other thing that was on, of course, was the IIHF, which some weird country called Canada. I don't know. I can't pronounce that. Canada won the gold. Yeah, nobody likes it. Won the gold with a 5-2 win against Germany. So basically a repeat of World War II, I think. My father-in-law from his grave will be saying, "You Germany," because he was in a prisoner of war camp in Germany for 4 years.
Oh wow.
Canadian who served in they were in the Dieppe.
And they had nothing to trade for him.
Nothing. No. Exactly. So well done to them. I got a little bit of video from that. I'll just put it in the background. Some of the stuff. So the game-winning goal, which was the third goal. Oops, sorry. Show on stream helps. There's no audio in this anyway. Game-winning goal was Sammy Blais of the Blues. So, sorry, did I just spit out loud when I heard the Blues mentioned? That was the game winner.
Them.
Yes. Fourth goal was Tyler Toffoli of the Flames.
Yeah.
And then Scott Lawton of the Flyers got an empty netter. The other Canada goal was the Coyotes' Lawson Krause, who's a pretty good player, up-and-coming player.
I think his own player pushed it away from his glove. He could have frozen that.
Yeah. So after they got past the first two, they were pretty rampant. So God knows how many of those they've won. Canada wins a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of NHL, and it's all NHL players. Don't think you can say the same for some of the other teams. But well done, Canada.
Your country kind of depends on how bad you do in the NHL playoffs.
That's right. But, Latvia got the bronze, which is actually nice for them in that I don't think they'd ever won a medal in the international hockey competition before.
Over the U.S.
Yeah, so they got the bronze. Well played to them. And I didn't know hockey was so popular in Latvia. Apparently, it's exceptionally popular. So the crowds that turned out to celebrate that bronze were incredible. Just amazing crowds.
Yeah. That's a lot of people for a bronze, especially.
It's like 1.8 million people or something. It's just incredible.
But if that's your highest achievement, bronze, that's at least medaling.
Yeah, exactly. And
be proud of it.
Yeah, apparently hockey is incredibly popular in Latvia. I'm not sure I can think of too many Latvian players, to be honest. There's probably a few.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's got to be some because like we said, half of this tournament is NHL players. So, their team had to have a few NHL players on it to be able to.
And yeah,
either they were upstarts like the Americans versus the Russians in the Olympics, or they've got a few NHL players. But it could be amateurs, I guess. I don't know.
I don't recognize any of the names, so forgive me, Latvians. I don't recognize the names of any of the players. So I guess they're all juniors or playing in Europe. Like their captain,
we're huge in Latvia, so we apologize.
Their captain had retired in 2022, but he came back to play in this. And Dogovin, I don't recognize the guy. I'm sorry, Latvia. Don't recognize.
Well, that's pretty cool, though.
But cool, yeah, cool for them. Look at that crowd. Would you get the same? You wouldn't even get the same fervor in America or Canada for hockey. Anybody winning that, maybe in your city.
I was at the Stanley Cup, celebration last year, and there were a ton of people in Denver, but nothing like that.
Yeah, but well done to
it's
them.
different when your whole country is celebrating versus one state, of course. But it was nothing near that.
Yeah. So we don't have a great deal of clips this week. We do have one of from the Panthers, like it might have been the last Panthers-Canes game. The ref trash talking them. It's quite amusing. So we're going to show
this
that.
Was funny. Yeah.
This is funny if I can just get to it. So, here we go. So the ref, Chris Rooney, is not impressed by the players and their athletic prowess. So he's basically starts shit talking them.
I do 60 every night. Just say it. You're skating pretty fast. Just say it. You're skating pretty fast.
I do 60 every night, so fuck you.
That was after one of the multi-overtime games.
Yeah. 50, because one of them was bumming about 57 minutes.
You almost played as much as I do, or skated almost as much as I do every single game,
Yeah, that's quite funny. I'm quite impressed by that. Yeah, and the only other, literally the only other clip that we've got this week, though, is a bit of a doozy, and it's a fight. Not from the recent. There's been not been great fights in the playoffs, I noticed. But there's been a lot of injuries with people doing stupid things, but not so great in the fighting. So back in 1997, we had an epic fight between Mike Keane of the New York Rangers and Scott Walker of the Canucks, and they were trying to break the record for the number of punches in 1 minute in fight. This is really, this is actually a pretty impressive one. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of rabbit punches, but you could see people's jaws going backwards too, so they were feeling it. Speed bagging each other.
Yeah, they were trying to break the record for the number of punches in a minute. So
that's a good little fight.
So that's your lot for clips, anyway. And we did get through a few topics.
Well, I mean, we're coming to the end of the season. There's not very many games. We're probably going to cut this show to an hour and a half at most for the off season, unless there's anything big going on. So, I mean, we'll be doing some some rivalry talk during the summer. We'll be doing some stuff with trade umbrellas, how the Lindros trade affected multiple things, all that kind of stuff. But and there's plenty of other trades, but with not a lot of hockey, there's not a lot of clips. So we'll be trimming it down to a nice hour and 15 probably from
certain subjects. Maybe
there wasn't a lot that happened in the last week. Dallas got put out, and we started the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. That's that's kind of all that happened outside of a few coach hirings and GM hirings. So
but we'll keep on keeping on. As you say, we'll do certain bits and pieces. We'll have certain topics. Maybe look at a movie or two occasionally.
Yeah. But a nice tight hour is a good amount of time to go for a show during the off season, and then
I think so.
We can go back into the 2 hours after we come back to a full schedule season.
Indeed. So I did put through a quick poll up on YouTube. Just a quick poll: who will win the cup? There were 3 choices: Vegas, Florida, or May. So if anyone hasn't voted in that, get in there and vote on that.
Get it in quick.
Get it in quick, because we're going to end that in a few seconds. I didn't have any new commercials this week either, although I think I might have missed a couple last week. I don't know. I'll take a quick look.
We've got a collection of like 80 or 90 commercials now.
We have a lot now.
We can cycle those things through and only see them a couple times a season.
Yeah, I think we did most of them.
But we've got some favorites too.
We have. Well, over the summer we'll be looking for more of those and maybe compiling some of the best ones into reels, as it were, playing 2 or 3 at once.
Well, and we'll start searching each individual team, because I know that, like the Avalanche on YouTube, they put all of their stuff that they do in the intermissions, like trying to get cotton balls into a certain thing, players just goofing around, the kind of stuff they do during intermissions. We can start pulling up some of the videos of those and seeing some players just goofing off, having a fun time, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Too.
And we'll need to see people to nominate their favorites, and we'll play those more often. I did like the Finnish training commercial ones. I thought they were hilarious. But some good stuff there. But so I'm going to close that poll now, and we'll take a look at that exciting result. As down to 2 teams. Can the chat fuck it up even more than the bracket?
No, I mean, I think the chat has it right here.
So they said Vegas 50%, Met 30%, and Florida 20%.
After watching that conference final, I just don't think Florida has the firepower to really keep up with Vegas. I mean, Vegas isn't a super powered, offensive team, but I think they've just got. I think they're going to outscore Florida all over the place here.
They might not be super power defensive, but look how they destroyed the Stars in at least 2 games because we were so bad. letting them score
Yeah.
6 goals. So they've got
I mean,
something.
they can score, but I mean, they're not one of those elite teams in the offensive categories. I don't think.
Yeah,
But
this was the
I don't
opening
think
goal.
that Florida has the firepower to keep up with them.
No, I think you're right. This was the opening shorty goal.
Yeah, shorthanded first goal. Imagine what the prop bet on that had to have been. First goal
God,
in the
yeah.
Stanley Cup Finals being a shorthanded goal by Florida. That's got to be like plus 3,000, plus
I know.
5,000.
I wish I'd thought of it and put a bet on it, but I didn't.
You know what I did a few years ago? It's been more than a few years ago. You know, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore
Yeah.
quarterback, when he played for Louisville, who is me and my dad's college team back when I actually paid attention to football.
Yeah.
So his first game of the season, he put up like 7 touchdowns, like 4 through the air, 3 on the ground.
Yeah.
And the Heisman odds were still at like, I think it was 5,000 to 1 or something like that. Or no, 500 to 1. I put $100 down that night, and it shifted to about 25 to 1 the next morning. He won the Heisman that season. My $100 bet paid 5,000.
Wow. Nice.
And it was just like, I just watched the first game of him doing it, and it was just like, no. I mean, if he's going to run in 3 touchdowns a game and throw for 4, and he did it all season long. He had as many rushing yards as the top running back, and he was the top quarterback.
Wow.
So that was just automatic money. That was the best bet I've ever made.
Good
But
stuff,
a prop
mate, yeah.
bet like that pays out instantly on a crazy shorthanded goal. I mean, Von Miller was like 3,500 to 1 on the to win the MVP, because defensive players rarely win the MVP of the Super Bowl. And I could not get the login. I had all the login in, but it kept saying that it was timing out. And then the game started, and I couldn't get the bet in. I mean, that would have $100 there is like $35,000.
Wow. What a shame.
And he won the MVP easily. He broke Cam Newton. The guy never played in the NFL in the same way again.
As long as he didn't break Wayne Newton, we're okay.
Yeah. Sports gambling can be fun every now and then, but don't have a problem with it.
I
don't bet more than you can.
I liked doing it, but I was always a miserable failure at it. You know, trying to bet. Okay, I'm going to be clever here. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
So I used to do. I like to do parlays. I like to do on the NFL when I used to watch it. I would do 12 game parlays on a weekend, and there was one that I put $5 down on a 12 team parlay, and I think it was to pay out like 10,000, and I get all 11 legs over the weekend, and on Monday night it's the Cowboys playing somebody, and all I need is the Cowboys to win. Tony Romo goes out and throws 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the fourth quarter or something. It was either the third and the fourth, or just the fourth quarter. Cowboys lose by like 2 points. $10,000 gone off of a $5 bet. I mean, sure, I only lose 5, but I will never forgive Tony Romo.
Yeah, I know. That's what I would be sick.
Oh, I was furious. I was sitting at the bar, getting ready to celebrate, paying off my car, and having a lot less debt and whatever. And no,
you had one job.
Tony Romo could not get it done. It drove me nuts.
You had one job. Oh, that's what would worry me though. It's not so much the losing a few bucks here and there; it's the losing the chance to win the big bucks.
Well, that's kind of the thing. I don't bet a ton of money. What I do is I bet outlandish bets because it's more fun if they hit. I mean, it's amazing. I used to go to Vegas every first round of March Madness for college basketball, and I would do 8 to 10 team parlays for everything. I would make a few solid bets just to keep the money kind of in there. I know I would be getting that. So when I was 21 was my first trip out there. And first year out there, I hit a 9 leg parlay. And I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm 21 and just, having fun in Vegas. But it was like $2 to win 700 or 800. As a 21-year-old, I mean, that's freaking huge. I've still got the ticket somewhere up in my bedroom, somewhere in some scrapbook or something. But yeah, that was fun.
It would be. That'd be great fun. Yeah, I know that. I mean, I'm not a big gambler, but the first time I ever went to Vegas, I said I'm going to play some roulette and put 11 and 12. I always use 11 and 12. And I put like
I do
whatever
black
it was,
18.
$5 on each or whatever. One of them came up, and I got like 500 and something bucks. I said,
Boom, boom,
I'm
boom,
done.
boom, boom. The stack
I'm
just
done.
keeps.
Yes, we won.
Oh.
I'm done.
21st
First
birthday,
time.
I go to the gambling town here in the mountains, Cripple Creek, and I sit down at a 3-card poker table. And 3-card poker, so you're trying to get straights, flushes, 3 of a kind, but it's only 3 cards, and you're playing against a dealer. You have to beat them. So it's like $10 a bet. A straight flush pays 40 to 1, 3 of a kind 30 to 1, straight 6 to 1, and flush 3 to 1. First 3 hands as a 21-year-old. Straight, flush, straight flush. It's like, no, of course you're freaking hooked. I mean, you just made like $900 in your first 3 hands ever sitting at a table.
And you'll be thinking this is
for
what
life.
it's like all the time.
Yeah. Oh, this is easy. This is fantastic.
Why do people get so happy about this? It's easy.
Yeah. I mean, I had played poker for, 10, 12 years before that. I mean, before I was 21. I learned poker when I was like 6 or 7. So when I turned 18, moved out, went to college, I had a weekly poker game at the house. I used to be a tournament blackjack player. So actually, when I went out to Vegas to get married, we went out by ourselves, got married, didn't want to deal with all the crap. We hit a deer on the way out to Vegas. So our car is limping into Vegas and still has deer parts all over it, deer crap and deer piss sprayed all over the car.
I've done it before.
Yeah. So we know we're already screwed because we're starting off our marriage with a completely crashed front end of the car. We roll into the parking garage and there's still deer hanging off of the car. But I enter in, so we get there and I find out there's a blackjack tournament at the casino hotel that we're staying at. So I enter it and I take second place as a, 21 and a half at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm playing against 700 or 800 people. Most of them are in their 60s or 70s and locals of Vegas who play blackjack every day. And I just destroy all of them. Blackjack tournaments are completely different than poker tournaments. You have to be cutthroat. If you have a little bet out there and somebody has a gigantic bet out there, part of your plan is, I'm going to screw up this hand in every way possible. I'm going to do everything against the rules to try to burn that guy's $1,000 bet or $500 bet against my $5 bet, because you just kind of sit there and decide when I'm going to go big and when I'm going to go small, that kind of thing. But I won that. I mean, it wasn't like some major tournament. It wasn't like the World Series of Poker. I won $1,500.
Good. Still pretty
but
good.
That paid to repair the car. So
good. Yeah.
Trip was paid for, wedding was paid for. We got home.
Somebody was on your side.
Yeah, it was fun. Which brings me to the only point I want to make about gambling.
Yeah.
Pete Rose is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame for gambling on a sport, and now every major sport is sponsored by every gambling company in the world.
Exactly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Poor bugger.
I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, it's all good stuff, mate. All good stuff. So yeah, I'm going to be looking for some tips from you next season to bet on things.
Hockey is weird. Take the over. And in the preseason, absolutely in hockey, take the over in every game in the preseason. You will make hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I'm not advising anybody to actually go
No,
gamble.
but
if you were to take the over
were,
in every preseason game, nobody's playing defense. They all go over every single time. So that's your solid bet in hockey. So
indeed, not that we would ever encourage anyone to do anything like that.
No, unless, Barstool or somebody wants to
We're
sponsor
not
the show.
licensed betting experts. So, but just wanted to say hello to You Know It and Canadian Spider-Man, and over on Rumble, Fat Steven Seagal was here, or may still be here. Hello to you all. Hi, y'all. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. We're going to run slightly shorter tonight. Brahma, obviously, won't be joining you in Dallas, but when are you heading off then? What's your plan?
I'll be doing yelling at park cars on Monday, and then Tuesday morning I fly out. I'm going to hang with the fam. My parents live in Dallas, so they're actually flying out from my house on Monday, getting there the day before I get there to go visit them.
Yes, well, give my apologies
Tuesday
to
I'll
them,
be there.
My apologies that I'm not going to meet them after all, because there was a planned thing with them, but so I'll see them some other time.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're trying to make Dallas a yearly thing. This place that we're going to, they're excited. We're excited. I mean, it's kind of been, we started it out Dick's Division. FNT has joined us. Geeks and Gamers has joined us. It's going to be all of us. And I've got a special guest coming. I think we've announced that on here. Alex Stein will be in Dallas. So that I've been working on that very diligently, and he has said he will be there. I've got to get, it's been a month since he confirmed. I'm going to confirm with him this week and make sure that he's still coming, because that man is a very busy man. So I'm hoping that that actually happens, because that'll be awesome to see Alex out there.
Good.
But
I look forward to watching you guys from here.
And Thursday night we're actually doing Thursday Night Throwdown after the meetup.
Yeah.
We're gonna all get together at the house and do a very late Thursday Night Throwdown in person. And based on prior meetups, we will probably already have tons of drinks in us, so it'll be a very interesting Thursday Night Throwdown.
Yeah, looking forward to watching that, mate. I'll be chatting to you in the chat. So good stuff. Yeah, I'll be doing my Monday show at 3 p.m. Mountain Time as usual on That 70s Rock Fan channel. This week we're just going to do a sort of Ray Stevenson tribute, talk about some of his stuff, particularly Warzone Punisher, which I'm a big fan of. And Andre and Tom, well, Andre is going to try and join. It's a bit late for him in Norway, but Andre from Midnight's Edge, Tom are going to try and join. So that'll be a nice chat. Nothing too, I haven't done a ton of over-the-top prep. We're just going to chat about some of his career, because he was one of my favorite actors. So that'll be nice to do. And Snowdub comes tearing in just as we're about to pack up. $5. Thank you, Snowdub. I was going to buy you a drink in Dallas, but you can save this for next time. Much love. Well, much love to you, brother. Thank you for that. And definitely want to see. It's going to
Brian
happen.
owes me 10 or 20 drinks, so you can just buy one for me, Snowdub.
A few bottles, yes. So, sorry I won't meet you there this time, Snowdub, but brother, we're going to get together sometime. Absolutely. And I got to play a clip then of some kind.
Fuck you, Shorzy. Fuck you, Corey. Your mom's twat's so swampy, not even Ducks Unlimited will touch her.
That's for you, Snowdub.
Because I don't know if I heard you address this. As now a Canadian, what did you think of Gordon Lightfoot's passing in the past couple weeks?
We see, the thing is, no disrespect to Gordon Lightfoot, I was never a big fan. It's not really my cup of tea, the kind of singer-songwriter thing.
I thought he was the greatest storyteller in music ever, personally.
I don't disagree. I mean, the man was very talented, and everybody likes the hits, and I like them too. I just wasn't hugely into him. I think it's significant from a Canadian cultural perspective, it was a big thing. Although what was funny about it was that every year there was always rumors that he died, and you'd have to go on social media and say, "No, I'm still alive." It's just a rumor. Well, this time it actually happened. At first I saw it, I thought, "Oh, here we go again." It's the usual. But I remember that. Have you ever seen Canadian Bacon? The yeah,
with
so
John Candy.
yeah, so when whoever it was that was in the hospital in Canada after doing their crossing over the lake, so Rhea Perlman, whoever was in the hospital,
Rhea,
yeah, and big bunch of flowers from Gordon Lightfoot delivered to the hospital for her. It's so Canadian, you know. But yeah, it was sad. I mean, the guy's a talented guy. It wasn't one of the things that grabbed me, his stuff, you know. So.
Okay.
I
I know
wasn't
a lot of
against it.
things. I know when a lot of the rock stars start dying off, you've had some major connection to them. I would put Gordon Lightfoot for Canada and for me at the same place where I would put like Dan Fogelberg.
Yeah.
I love so many of their songs. They were never something I listened to when I was young, but as I aged, I came to have a great appreciation for their storytelling ability through song and so much more. I mean, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald is, I mean, it's a 6-minute song, but I mean, that thing tugs at the heartstrings every time you hear it for me. Kind of like Old Lang Syne and, you know, or another Lang Syne, whatever.
Old Lang Syne, yeah. Old Lang Syne.
Yeah. I mean, they're just one of those guys that had a great voice and were great lyricists. I mean, and yeah, it was a lot of their hits. I didn't deep dive into their tracks, but Gordon Lightfoot hit me pretty hard.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. You know that some artists do affect you like that. Absolutely, there are some that.
Yeah, especially when you grow up listening to him. Like, I mean, for Gordon Lightfoot, I grew up listening to him. I mean, that was my dad's music. So.
Yeah, there's been a few of them have hit me quite hard in the past. I mean, George Harrison was one. I remember the thing is when I was always a huge Beatles fan. When John Lennon died, it was more of a shock. But George Harrison, I was quite sad about that one. It was pretty bad. And then when Dio died, I was pretty upset. And I was shocked by Jeff Beck dying. I was a huge Jeff Beck fan. So,
and of course, all my heroes died. All the grunge rockers have died. So, I mean, we've got Eddie Vedder left.
Sell out.
It's freaking Eddie Vedder. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Pearl Jam to a degree. I thought they had some great albums, but yeah, I don't agree with Vedder's politics or much else with him. I think they had some good hits, and that was about it. So
yeah, they're not top of my list either. But I was more upset by
they weren't part of the big groups.
I was more into Chris Cornell. Yeah, but,
Cornell was a huge loss.
Yeah, thanks, Smokey, for the $2.20 New Zealand Banzai, motherfucker. And I'm pretty sure I've got that clip. Never gets old.
I was just buying you time to find the clip.
That's right. Thanks, Smokey. Appreciate it, buddy. It's that'll pay for some more Tylenol. I'm on the stronger stuff than that right now. But
the Tylenol 3.
Yeah, I got this one of those gel packs, cold gel packs here right now. Oh, jeez, that's it. Anyway, thanks again to everybody. It's been real.
Tina Guzman comes in at the very last second.
Tina, just we'll kill time for another 30 seconds now. You're here. Anyway, you've all been great on both chats on both sides, and you've supported us throughout this season. We're not done yet. We won't be a show next Saturday, but there will be one the following Saturday, I'm sure, where we'll have the remainder of the we'll know who the winner is by then.
The end of the year.
Yeah, end of the year. It will be officially over. So we'll be wrapping up the season and talking about our next plans. But yeah, have a great time in Dallas, buddy. You know,
Thank you, sir.
And everybody out there, have a great rest of your weekend and a great week. And we will see you all again very soon. So take care and good night.
Night, everybody. Cheers.
Good night.